let's see where we get to. So we're at the well now, and somebody has put some postcards at that's the postcards there. So if I go this way,
this is present use.
Yeah, it's in the middle of what is a kind of just an ordinary market. I'll just spin round to show the kind of market it is. There's a visitor information craft market sign there. Right, and now. So can you just? It does look, as you say, a bit like an old-fashioned phone box.
Telephone or post box.
Yeah.
Or something, I don't know.
So in this square itself in 1814, what was going on?
Well, in this square, I'm not sure where the execution was taken place, but most of them were taking place in this square, in this market square. Yeah. And this is, of course, the original square.
Yeah.
The old cobblestones are still there. These are original stones.
Yeah.
And this is the original location of the well that Sturge talked about. I think this was already there when Sturge came, probably in 1837.
This wrought metal.
I'm not sure if that was put later on or it was already there. But certain, and that structure, I'm not sure if that was there either. I'm not sure when that was put. But it was at some time it was blocked. Yeah. The well itself was disused.
If you think of how hot it is in this country, and there's a well full of cold water that people refuse to drink from.
They wouldn't drink from it.
You know, that speaks volumes.
They wouldn't drink from it because they felt they were afraid that this was too much blood had been spilled. It wasn't just in 1814 that the blood was spilled. This was the regular place of execution.
Yeah.
And I can imagine in a slave society, resistance, any form of resistance was put down with great force. But slavery was essentially a matter of violence. You could only keep people enslaved by violent means. And so the executions and the killings and the stocks they used to have here and puts people down in the ground and put their necks in these iron things and the most exquisite, voluptuous cruelty. One shouldn't laugh. One shouldn't laugh.
You can always laugh. But it's what makes us human, laughing.
Yeah, the greatest cruelties were actually this square witnessed the most terrible.
And why isn't that marked more within Dominica, do you think?
I think it is because, again, as I told you earlier on, that history is written by the victors, not by victims.
Somebody said to me, in fact it was the owner of Hillsborough now, I said to him, why don't you make more of the history of the place? And I think it was him who said that when people come off the boats, the tourists come off the boats, they don't want to be reminded of slavery or feel uncomfortable.
And that incidentally, that reaction, incidentally, tells you just how deeply the indoctrination which took place throughout the period of slavery and after slavery, how deep that indoctrination was. That even today there's almost a kind of self-censorship of the descendants of those people who don't even want the truth to be told or to be known because they are so afraid. And they were always afraid from the very beginning. This must have been a very frightening place.
There's been a sense of self-censorship within the Dominican community and population.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Because don't forget class.
I've sort of sensed that, but I don't know if I've had the guts to say it to you, but I have sensed a bit of that.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And don't forget what the slavers established and the world they created. They created a world based on what you'd call a hierarchy of oppression. And those who are at the bottom of that oppression very soon learn at the end of the day to either to accept these terrible things that were happening as normal, you understand, and knew themselves how to avoid getting into trouble by either saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or taking up the wrong attitude. And that has continued because, in effect, the power relations that were established during slavery, the form of it, in form it changed, but in essence, it did not. It remained pretty much the
I
same.
think it's also mistaken because I think, I'm not speaking from experience. I don't know, what kind of American tourists come off these boats or whatever. But I think it's wrong to think that they wouldn't be fascinated about it. It's also assuming that they're all white as well.
But it's absolutely wrong to assume they would not be interested. As a matter of fact, more up-to-date ideas of tourism is that tourism works best where there is a storyline to it. And in fact, this time I've been proposing, and the organization that I represent, the Vision President, the White Akubli Ecological Foundation, we are proposing that this space, in fact, should be turned into a national monument and a national heroes park.
Well,
which would then tell people who are coming out of the cruise ships here, hey, here's the sea, here's the berth, the cruise ship berth. Immediately they get out of it, this is the first that they could simply not avoid seeing. And they would be bound to ask questions about it. Now, I think the people who told you they don't want this to happen because they're afraid that they might offend the tourists are just displaying again, as I said, that kind of heightened sensitivity to the sensibilities of the oppressors, of those who have power. You understand? As opposed to the sensibilities of the victims and those who resisted. And we want to turn this turn it on its head and show the sensibilities to the victims and those who are oppressed, and not those who in fact oppress them.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck with that project. It sounds like common sense to me.
Yeah, I think it is.